Hi, my name is Ross Gerber, and I'm President and CEO of Gerber Kawasaki Wealth and Investment Management. So I wanted to give an update for investors of where we are with cannabis legalization on a federal level, as well as what issues we're facing and ways that you can get involved. And then what we did was we went out to Glass House Farms and we met with Graham and Kyle, the owners of Glass House Farms, and we did a tour, and we're going to show you this amazing farm that's employed hundreds of people and is a huge contributor to the economy here in Southern California. How advanced and professional these cannabis operations are. Great American business, and it's time that they take off the shackles that have been put on them for over 50 years, because the Jim Crow federal cannabis laws need to be reversed. So let's start at the beginning.
Cannabis has a long and complex history. It was initially used for medicinal, recreational, and religious purposes across communities worldwide. And then its path to California really took a dramatic turn in the 20th century. California is known for having a very progressive stance on cannabis, but it really wasn't always that way. In 1913, there was a lot of anxiety surrounding Mexican immigrants and exaggerated fears about the plant's dangers, and that actually led to California becoming the first state to criminalize cannabis use. The overall sentiment was further solidified by the Federal Marijuana Tax Act of 1937, which then banned cannabis nationwide. When you think about the roots of this prohibition, it's pretty clear that it was caused by an overall toxic mix of racism, xenophobia, and corrupted narratives. Cannabis was falsely associated with immigrants and portrayed as a gateway to crime and addiction. That's what really led to its widespread criminalization, even though it was still being used by millions worldwide. Fast forward to the 1950s and 1970s, and cannabis witnessed a resurgence in California, with the counterculture and hippie movements embracing its use.
I never smoked no shit like that before.
Take these.
What?
Man. Take these.
The shift in perception coincided with growing awareness of its medical benefits, and then California then became the first state to legalize it for medical reasons in 1996. I'd say the next big milestone was in 2012 when Colorado and Washington legalized recreational cannabis, which then inspired California to follow suit in 2016.
Well, as of this morning, recreational marijuana is now legal in California.
Despite all of this progress, 15 states still remain stuck in the past, clinging to the outdated cannabis prohibition laws. But today, California has a thriving cannabis industry that generates billions in revenue and creates countless jobs.
The Biden administration promised that they were going to legalize cannabis, with the Democrats taking control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency 4 years ago. This has changed recently, and the Biden administration directed the DEA to reschedule cannabis.
I'm asking the Secretary of Health and Human Services and the Attorney General to initiate a process to review how marijuana is scheduled under federal law.
Now, the DEA has a set of schedules, Schedule 1, 2, 3, and 4, I think maybe even 5, of how they list the harm of drugs, with Schedule 1 being the most harmful drugs like heroin and cannabis. The best thing you can do right now is call your senator, call your congressperson, and tell them you want them to take action on legalization of cannabis. And there's many actions that many senators and congressmen have been taking to try to get the DEA to finish this review process and reschedule cannabis. There are many actions many senators have taken to pass laws like safe banking, to give access to capital for cannabis companies, to have cannabis companies listed on the New York Stock Exchange, for cannabis employees to get proper benefits and rights under the law. It is just absurd. One of the reasons I wanted to make this video, as investors in cannabis MSOs, multi-state operators, yes, we do have a profit potential with the legalization of cannabis, but it's essentially that the government has taken all of the profit from the growing and selling of cannabis for themselves. And while they've induced so many entrepreneurs, many are young entrepreneurs, into the cannabis industry, they've created a system that has bankrupted most of them. Why? Because government regulation and taxation on cannabis products is out of control. Over half of America lives in a place where recreational cannabis use has been approved and legalized on state law. So this is the second issue. State laws should supersede federal law when it comes to cannabis. There is no interstate commerce being done between cannabis companies, and therefore federal law shouldn't even apply. The cannabis companies have sued the federal government over this ridiculous classification of federal law superseding state law when there's no interstate commerce. And that is a lawsuit being fought by a guy named David Boies, who's one of the best lawyers in the country. And they're looking to get this to the Supreme Court so that somebody can rule that state law should supersede federal law when it comes to cannabis. Our goal is for people to understand that it's time to remove restrictions on a federal level for cannabis users, consumers, and companies. It is just time for it to stop. So enjoy the video and thank you for your support. Today we are here at Glasshouse Farms and we're doing a tour and education about the cannabis industry with Graham and Kyle, the owners of the business.
My joke is if you stand on your cannabis grow and you see office buildings, you're growing weed in the wrong spot.
Should we show?
Yeah.
let's
okay.
go
So.
That's like a beer factory.
Right. So this entire building is water treatment. So we've got a 165-acre piece of property with 125 acres of greenhouse on it. This was here. We bought all this. It's part of the reason that this is the unicorn spot is because it has all this infrastructure.
That's water right there, not grass.
Right. A lot of people don't pay enough attention to is the eco-friendliness of the farm. As an investor, I want to invest in businesses that are
make you feel good, that have solar farms, right? I mean, that's a megawatt of solar.
Yeah.
So not only is it's a triple bottom line, right? It's good for the planet. Our consumers and customers can feel good about it, and it saves us 50 grand a month in electricity.
Yeah.
It also provides shade for the stormwater retention pond, so the water doesn't evaporate and instead goes back down in the aquifer. So 100 years from now, we can pull it back up and grow some more weed. They're packaging pounds of smalls here, but this smells pretty good. You can kind of get it. I think it's a cherry kick.
You supply other stores, not just your own.
Well, we supply our brands: Glasshouse Farms, All's Well, Forbidden Flowers, Plus, Field.
So those are just multiple brands.
Yeah, all of our brands, and then we supply a lot of the brands out there.
And is it based off quality? Which brand name you're using?
Yeah, like these are smalls. They're probably going to our All's Well brand, which is our value brand. The bigger buds will go into our Glasshouse Farms brands, a little fancier.
And then, now, do you distribute all throughout California? Is that?
Yeah, so we do. So we have three different verticals. We have our wholesale vertical where we're the Intel inside for lots of brands out there.
Right.
We have our CPG brands, Glasshouse Farms, All's Well, and Plus are the three biggest ones. And then we also have 10 retail stores of our own.
Oh, so you have 10 stores.
Yeah, so we sell our brands through our stores.
Under Glasshouse?
They're actually Pharmacy, Natural.
Pharmacy. Okay, yeah, I know them.
Natural Healing Center. And
the pharmacies are the nice ones.
Yeah, they are really nice.
Yeah.
So we'll go in here. So these are mother plants. It sounds like you know some stuff about growing.
You don't want father plants near them.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is basically
with my avocado tree as well.
This is our genetic library. So these are our plants that we make new plants from. So we'll see as we go along here. I'm sure we'll see some of the super silver haze.
No, it's the same concept, manufacturing concept. I mean, this is like the same thing I see every time I go to Tesla. It's like this game of like, how do we automate? How do we drive costs down?
Yep.
How do we look at every level of efficiency of every system that we have? And the only way electric vehicles work is the same way cannabis works, where you have to have amazing efficiency to make a profit. And Tesla's the only company that's done that. And it's the same issue with cannabis, where so few companies have been able to make a profit because of the government, and they've been forced to drive efficiencies to like enormous levels. Here's the plant.
So here's the moms. Yeah, there it is, right there.
Yeah.
So there's the super silver haze moms right here.
Right.
The bigger ones here. These ones are actually out of tissue culture. So this is a cut that we've been growing for 25 years, all the way back to rooms and garages in Santa Barbara. We currently have our winter kind of fall treatment on right now. We have a roof cleaning robot. So as we get later into the winter, it will come by and make that totally crystal clear to maximize the light in here.
1% more light is 1% more yield, so you can lose 10% if it starts getting, so just having these robots, it takes about a week for them to do a whole 1,000,000 square feet.
Wow. So if safe banking does go through, the goal would be to uplist to the NASDAQ and all that kind of stuff?
Absolutely.
This will be our next one. It'll open up. We'll start planting at the end of the year, first quarter of next year. And then the older ones, what's interesting, if you like indoor cannabis, that one has 1 million square, that's 1 million square feet. There's 2 greenhouses, one, there's a road between, but this one has 1 million square feet of high pressure sodium lights. So we're determined to replace them, put in lights. We make our own electricity here. And what I want to do is do 125% of the light that you would get in an indoor warehouse anywhere. So it's like, this is indoor plus.
You know the goal of this that we just walked by about 100 feet away. So this is essentially the nicest greenhouse that people know how to build right now.
It's unbelievable.
High quality, large scale.
No, it goes back into what we were saying earlier about how it's literally just cutting off a piece of a plant and trimming it and drying it and smoking it.
These are going back to our
like think about like a cigarette process where they take the tobacco leaf and coat it with chemicals,
and
right?
stuff like that.
And it's coated with chemicals.
Okay, it's not a natural product.
No, it
It's a natural input, maybe. Right? I mean,
well, yeah, but it'd be like taking a piece of paper and pouring poison all over it.